YouTube, Awesome Writer here. In today's video, I wanted to talk about the Power Rangers 30th anniversary. It's the end of the year and we're winding down from the 30th anniversary celebration. You know, I'm recording this a little bit early in December. I'm not sure when it's going to come out. So who knows, maybe they announced something super special after I recorded this. But I wanted to sort of review the anniversary and talk about how it was. Was it good? Was it lackluster? And I think the truth is somewhere in between. You know, ask a lot of fans, you'll probably even see the comment section, it'll be like, yes, it was lackluster. Hasbro's a mustache twirling villain that's trying to kill the brand. Sprinkle in the word woke a few times, that's the general consensus. But I think it's more complicated than that. I will say, more complicated than that, rather. I'm good at talking. If there's one thing I'm fantastic at, it's talk. I do think, admittedly, it was a little bit lackluster for one specific reason I'll get to at the end, but I do think there were some positives despite what some fans might say. So to start off, I wanted to talk about just the content we got, like setting aside any context or drama or anything like that, or criticism of promotion. In terms of pure content, we actually got quite a bit. You know, we got a special anniversary thing with Once and Always. We got a final season that was like meant to be a sort of anniversary celebration finale. We got an anniversary 30th anniversary comic. I said anniversary so many times just then. I just said it again. Stop saying anniversary. And then we got, a new comic event, Darkest Hour, amongst other little things. Now, there's also the merchandise side, which I'm going to talk about right in the middle of this video. But in terms of pure content, again, setting aside context of like the promotion and everything, we got a fair amount. And like, if you're like happy with it, is kind of depending on you. I mean, I guess like everything, but it depends on what you want out of an anniversary season. I feel like in fandoms in general, in recent years, there's been a lot of pressure on anniversary seasons or like years to just be this huge blowout and like every day's Christmas and we want the world, I want the whole world. It's like the whole, basically everyone's like the spoiled girl from Wonka. And it just depends on what you want out of it. You know, I've been pretty sick of anniversary celebrations. I think it's even worse in the Toku community because they do so many anniversary things for Sentai and Rider that literally I get so many comments of like, here's all the anniversaries that are coming up and what we want from it. It's like, God, can we give it a rest? But it depends on what you want. If you were somebody that was expecting it to feel like a year of Christmas, you might have been disappointed. But if you kind of have more even expectations, again, in terms of pure content, we got quite a bit. You know, most things when they do an anniversary will usually do like one big thing. They might do a lot of promotion throughout the year and release like special merchandise or like re-release stuff with like anniversary labeling, but they'll usually do like one big thing. But we had kind of multiple things going on. And, also if you didn't like it, that's not a reason to say it was bad anniversary content. Meaning like I've seen people basically be like, well, I didn't like Cosmic Fury, so they did the anniversary terribly. I'm like, well, it's not about you. I do think on paper we did get quite a bit actually, and most of it I enjoyed. So I want to give them credit for that, as we did get quite a bit of things. Now the problem is that everything felt kind of lackluster in a way. People like to target the promotion, the fans like to paint themselves as heroes for promoting the brand more. And it's true, they don't promote it as good as they could. I think the weakest promotion came in the form of Cosmic Fury. They did extremely base level promotion for that. I don't think that was meant to be their big anniversary thing, and I think if they're wanting to have a different image going forward with the reboot, they're probably not going to want to promote what Cosmic Fury looks like. Don't get me wrong, I like Cosmic Fury, but you know what I mean. I think that they're going to want to try to shake that image, so I don't think they want their last impression being that, especially when you see like how people were reacting to Once and Always. That was a fair bit of like post Once and Always fan promotion, is so many fan reactions or casual fan reactions just trashing it. So many people were sending those to me being like, can you believe they're saying this about Power Rangers? I'm like, yes. Cosmic Furies had very lackluster promotion, but Once and Always was very base level. Could they have done more? Absolutely, but I was never that mad at Once and Always level of promotion. It was, again, very baseline. This was a situation where fans were acting like Hasbro was specifically targeting Power Rangers and hating on it, and it's like, no, it was very base level. It was pretty much in line with very much base level promotion for anything else you would get. I would say it got a little bit more attention than Cosmic Fury. Again, they could have done better, but they did decent enough for Once and Always in terms of the promotion. Pretty much what you would get run of the mill. It's like one of the situations where the Ranger fandom run up against like pretty common practices, and then they act like Power Rangers is being mistreated, and it's not. I will say too that I felt like the promotion for the Darkest Hour event was pretty lackluster in comparison to Shattered Grid. I felt like Shattered Grid got quite a bit of coverage. I saw it covered on multiple different sites. There was a lot of people talking about it, and I've really been enjoying Darkest Hour, but I feel like it's not really talked about a lot at all. So there has been a feeling of like a general lackluster tone. And again, it's very base level. I don't think that the fans make it sound worse than it is. They make it sound like they're trying to completely bury it, and I don't think that's the case. I think it's kind of in the middle, where it's a bit of an afterthought and there was some lackluster, but there was a little bit of baseline effort put in. But it definitely didn't feel like this big celebration. It felt like, hey, this is the 30th anniversary, here's some stuff. But it didn't feel like a big deal. Now, I do think that there's one major reason everything felt lackluster, which I'll get into in a minute, but I want to take a minute to talk about the toys, because that was definitely one of the most lackluster elements. Now, I don't know whether if we knew things were winding down, we would have expected more, because as far as I can think, in terms of anniversary-related toys, we basically just got the remaster figures, the 6 of them. I think, did Rita have one too? And we got the Master Morpher, and then if you want to count the Omegas. And then the Cosmic Fury line. I don't know if you want to count that, because, I mean, I guess Bandai did do. Bandai went pretty all out with, like, anniversary stuff. Like, they had the Red Ranger, like, action heroes during Megaforce, and, like, they had a whole 15th anniversary line. Like, they had those cool vinyls, they had all those super muscle figures. I think there was something else, too. But they usually went more all out in the main line. They had, like, main line and sublines. But for Cosmic Fury, for the last season, and for the anniversary season, definitely a very lackluster showing. Like, the toys weren't the greatest, although I'm not as big of a hater to the extent, again, people act like holding these will murder you because they're so terrible. It's like they're not that bad. But they weren't the greatest, and there was only 3 of them. For the last season, anniversary season, 3 pretty mediocre toys at best, you know, very small shelf presence, and then just a very small amount of, you know, anniversary-related merchandise, especially for a toy company that usually would maybe go all out for something like this. And that also is made worse by the fact that they're winding down. There was the announcement that the Lightning Collection was going to be taking a break for at least a year, and so there was very much this get things out of the way feel, which, again, talking about lack of promotion, I think the best promotion done was Once and Always, and then everything else was very baseline, but the toys were definitely very underserved in terms of promotion. I think there was maybe 2, like, live streams where they were discussed, and we all remember that infamous one where they said, let's get this out of the way to get to Star Wars. Again, don't disagree, like Star Wars more, but you know what I mean. Like, that didn't help. There's very much this afterthought feel of, we gotta get this over with, and the fact that they're winding down made the anniversary toys feel not that exciting, and also made a lot of people not want to pick certain things up, because they're like, well, what's it gonna matter if either we're gonna quit and not complete this, or when we restart, if we do restart, then there's just gonna be new toys and might not line up. And so that's what I want. That leads me into my kind of main final point, or sort of why this anniversary did feel lackluster, is there was this cloud hanging over it of this feeling of winding down, because Lightning Collection's going on a hiatus for an unknown amount of time. I think they said a year, but who knows. I'm presuming that means the main line as well, because it just wouldn't make sense because there's no show or anything. The show's going to be going on a hiatus, or, you know, the main show as we know it is ending, but there's going to be a gap of at least over a year before the reboot. So there's this feeling of ending, of winding down, which feels really somber and weird. Now, I do think it was kind of unfortunately unavoidable in regards to the show side of things. You know, again, people like to just completely villainize Hasbro, but I do think that they've made a lot of mistakes. But I think it's a combination of some mishandling, I think a lot of leadership and direction changes, and also just a bunch of unfortunate circumstances, including the recent writer strike and stuff. So I think that ideally they probably would have wanted the anniversary be able to promote the reboot that would be coming out sooner, but unfortunately again, I'm not saying a lot of it isn't their fault, but I'm saying there was also circumstances that made it very unfortunate that they were leading up to a gap at the end of the 30th anniversary. But that definitely made it feel kind of, not sad, I guess, but disappointing, because it's like, I can't think of any other franchise celebrating an anniversary that had this winding down feel. Because usually when they have an anniversary of like an ongoing series, it'll be like a big celebration of some sort in one event, and they'll use it to like make new merch and to kind of bolster like press. Or it's like a dormant brand and they'll use it to come back, whether it's for some sort of revival or just bringing back like merch or something. Like, I don't know. I know Ghostbusters is technically an ongoing brand, like right now, because there's a new movie, but just to use as an example, they might have done something like when Ghostbusters was more dormant, being like, oh, hey, it's the 20th anniversary or whatever, let's release a special like Blu-ray set or whatever, and with new behind-the-scenes features. You know what I mean? Like, they'll use like a dormant brand having an anniversary as an excuse to maybe try to bring interest in it in merchandise. But I can't think of a brand that was technically active that had this feeling of winding down, and I think that's ultimately what led to it feeling so lackluster. Even though I think we did get a solid amount of content, it felt kind of sad in a way. And the thing is I think they could have used it to promote the reboot. I know there's nothing to show right now, and this comes in a tricky situation because we see a lot of people always being like, they haven't given us updates, we deserve it, and it's like, there's nothing to say. But at the same time, this is a perfect opportunity, even though I know there's nothing ready. There's like literally nothing to show as far as you know. There's no casting. The only updates we ever get on the reboot ever are, it's usually a footnote at the end of an article saying, oh, and hey, there's supposedly a reboot coming to Netflix. Or, you know, Jonathan Entwistle will get asked and he'll be like, yeah, it's still on the way. That's all the updates we ever get. But even if anything's not ready, they could have used this as an opportunity to remind you, hey, we're going to come back. You know, maybe like with Once and Always in particular. I think Once and Always would have been a good chance because you had a lot of eyeballs on that because of the nostalgia, to remind people that, hey, you know, this is the last hurrah of the 90s Rangers you remember from your childhood, but coming soon, a brand new era for a new generation or whatever. Or even like at the end of the comics, you could have like a page ad that says, you know, coming soon. You know, even if we don't have a date, I think while you have eyeballs on you, it seems weird that they didn't use it to remind you the brand's not going to be dead. And it's just weird. I think that they missed opportunity. They could have replicated the "you gotta see it, it's coming" marketing for Zeo, like with this idea of this generation ending, but then there's a new era on the horizon. I think it was a missed opportunity. The only thing I can think of is, I think it's maybe, I don't know, to be honest with you, I think it's just because they're not sure what they're doing. I think they want to do the reboot and they want stuff to happen, but I think that there's been so many direction changes, I think they're just unsure. I think that's true. I think there's a chance that they either thought of or are going to do the marketing strategy of, when Power Rangers comes back at the reboot, that'll be the marketing like tagline of Power Rangers is back. Like maybe they are purposefully or eventually kind of took advantage of this situation to purposefully make it feel like it's winding down and, you know, let it feel like it ended for like a year or two and then have like it's coming back marketing. Regardless of whether that was any sort of plan, I think that's the best play. I think when they do come back, have this sort of the Power Rangers are returning marketing. I think that worked pretty well for Samurai. I remember Samurai getting quite a bit of media attention with this idea of, even though Power Rangers was only sort of dormant during the gap, the idea of Saban bringing it back had this, the Power Rangers are back, cool blue, and the Power Rangers are back, that sort of marketing. I think that's the best ploy, but yeah. I feel like I sit somewhere in the middle. I think in terms of content, we got content I enjoyed, and we got a fair amount compared to other things. But I think that the fact that everything was winding down made it feel like a lackluster year, and I think they should have taken advantage of it, made it feel like a bigger celebration, and remind you that there's something new on the horizon. Kind of like Doctor Who's doing currently. You know, they're bringing back David Tennant, doing these 60th anniversary specials to bolster excitement and get people in the door for Ncuti's era. Now, it's very different because his stuff has already been and being shot, so it's ready for to immediately watch the Christmas special, but you know what I mean. Something like that would have been cool, but what do you guys think? I'm sure I'm going to get some very colorful comments in the comment section, but let me know as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for my videos. Dawson Ryder, signing out.